What happens to your brain on 5 hours of sleep? It is 2 o'clock in the morning. You are staring at the glowing screen of your phone, or perhaps typing away at your laptop, trying to finish just one more task. You look at the clock, do some quick mental math, and realize your alarm is set to go off in exactly 5 hours. You sigh, close your eyes, and tell yourself a very familiar lie. It's fine. I can survive on 5 hours of sleep. I'll just grab a large coffee in the morning and catch up on the weekend. We live in a culture that treats sleep like an obstacle to productivity. We are told that sleep is for the weak, that the most successful people sleep less, and that our bodies can easily adapt to minimal rest. But what if I told you that by sleeping only 5 hours, you are actively starving your brain of its most vital biological resource? What if I told you that while you think you are functioning perfectly fine, your brain is quietly suffocating under a mountain of cellular waste, struggling to make basic decisions and rapidly aging? Today we are going to peel back the skull and look directly at what happens inside your head when you limit your sleep to just 5 hours. We will explore the immediate cognitive failures, the emotional shifts, the microscopic toxic buildup, and the long-term neurological consequences that you cannot simply sleep off on Sunday morning. This is not just about feeling tired. This is about the fundamental survival of your mind, the architecture of sleep. To understand why 5 hours of sleep is so incredibly damaging, we first need to understand what a healthy, complete night of sleep actually looks like. Sleep is not a passive state where your brain simply switches off like a light bulb. Instead, it is an active, highly coordinated series of biological stages, almost like a nightly maintenance crew performing a deep clean on a massive skyscraper. A normal night of sleep consists of multiple cycles, each lasting roughly 90 to 110 minutes. Within each cycle, your brain transitions through different stages. First, you enter light sleep, where your heart rate slows and your body temperature drops. Then you descend into deep, slow-wave sleep. This is the physical restoration phase, where your body repairs tissues, boosts the immune system, and clears out cellular waste. Finally, you enter REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, which is the dreaming phase where emotional processing and memory consolidation happen. But here is the critical catch. These stages of sleep are not distributed evenly throughout the night. During the first half of the night, your brain prioritizes deep, slow-wave sleep to ensure physical recovery. During the second half of the night, particularly the last 2 to 3 hours, your brain shifts heavily into REM sleep. When you cut your sleep down to 5 hours, you are not just losing a fraction of your total sleep time. Because of how sleep cycles are structured, you are selectively cutting out the vast majority of your REM sleep. You are essentially robbing your brain of its primary tool for emotional stability, memory integration, and mental clarity. The cognitive collapse. When you wake up after only 5 hours of sleep, you might feel a bit groggy, but you assume that once the caffeine kicks in, you will be good to go. Inside your skull, however, a series of neurological failures is already underway. The first area to suffer is your prefrontal cortex. Located right behind your forehead, the prefrontal cortex is the crown jewel of human evolution. It is responsible for logical decision-making, focus, impulse control, and long-term planning. Because it is the most metabolically demanding part of your brain, it is the very first to suffer when energy resources run low. After only 5 hours of sleep, the neural connections in your prefrontal cortex begin to weaken. Your attention span shrinks. You become highly distractible, jumping from one task to another, unable to sustain deep focus. Simple decisions suddenly require immense mental effort. While your prefrontal cortex is slowing down, another part of your brain is going into overdrive, the amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's ancient emotional alarm system, responsible for detecting threats and triggering the fight-or-flight response. In a well-rested brain, the prefrontal cortex acts as a rational guide, keeping the amygdala in check. But when you sleep only 5 hours, the communication line between these two regions is severed. Your amygdala becomes highly reactive. You react to minor inconveniences with disproportionate anger, anxiety, or stress. You lose your psychological resilience, making you emotionally volatile and easily overwhelmed by the challenges of the day. The toxic buildup. To truly appreciate the damage of a 5-hour night, we have to look deeper than behavior and psychology. We have to look at the microscopic, cellular level. What is physically happening to your brain cells when you deny them sleep? During the day, your brain cells are incredibly active, consuming energy and producing metabolic waste products. One of the most dangerous waste products is a protein called beta amyloid, along with another protein called tau. These are the exact toxic proteins that clump together to form plaques in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's disease. Your brain has a unique waste clearance system called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's nightly dishwasher. When you enter deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain cells actually shrink by about 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to rush through the spaces between the cells. This fluid washes away the toxic buildup of beta amyloid and tau that accumulated during the day. But this deep cleaning process takes time. When you limit your sleep to 5 hours, the glymphatic system cannot complete its cycle. You leave a significant portion of yesterday's toxic waste inside your brain. Day after day, week after week, these proteins build up, slowly poisoning your brain cells and dramatically increasing your risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases later in life. The memory eraser sleep deprivation also acts as a silent memory eraser. Every time you learn something new, the information is temporarily stored in a structure called the hippocampus, which acts like your brain's short-term RAM. The hippocampus has a limited storage capacity. If you don't clear it out, you cannot learn anything new. During sleep, particularly during a combination of deep sleep and REM sleep, your brain transfers these memories from the temporary storage of the hippocampus to the permanent hard drive of the cerebral cortex. This process is called memory consolidation. When you sleep only 5 hours, this transfer process is cut short. The hippocampus remains full of yesterday's data, meaning you wake up with a severely reduced capacity to learn and retain new information. You will find yourself reading the same paragraph over and over again, unable to absorb the words, because your brain literally has no physical space left to store them. The illusion of adaptation. Many people believe they have adapted to 5 hours of sleep. They say, "I've been doing this for years and I feel perfectly fine." But science tells a completely different story. In a famous study, researchers restricted participants to 6 hours of sleep or less for 2 weeks. They regularly tested their cognitive performance, attention, and reaction times. The results were shocking. Day by day, the sleep-restricted participants showed a steady, cumulative decline in cognitive ability. By the end of the 2 weeks, their mental performance was just as bad as someone who had gone 48 hours without any sleep at all. But here was the most alarming finding. The participants themselves were completely unaware of their decline. When asked how they felt, they rated their sleepiness as stable. They truly believed they had adapted. This is the dangerous trap of chronic sleep restriction. Your baseline for what normal feels like shifts downward. You live in a perpetual state of cognitive deficit, completely blind to your own impairment. Conclusion. Reclaiming your brain is the most complex, beautiful, and valuable thing you will ever own. It holds your memories, your personality, your dreams, and your capacity to think. Every time you choose to sleep only 5 hours, you are making a trade. You are trading your long-term memory, your emotional resilience, your cognitive sharpness, and your future brain health for a couple of hours of low-quality productivity or mindless entertainment. The idea that we can thrive on minimal sleep is a myth. True success, creativity, and happiness do not come from burning the candle at both ends. They come from a brain that is fully rested, fully cleaned, and fully alive. Tonight, when the clock runs late and you are tempted to stay up for just 1 more hour, remember what is happening inside your head. Turn off the screen, close your eyes, and give your brain the rest it desperately needs. Your future self will thank you. Thank you for watching. Take care of your mind and sleep well.